Welcome back to Diamond Niner Report. This is week 6 of the 2025 season. I am Nick, joined as always by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
With producer Brad, making it all go.
Hey.
All right, folks, we got another big show for you tonight. Can't wait to get started. If you like what we're doing, like, share, and subscribe. Whether or not you're checking us out on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you find us, spread the word and help us grow the program. Diamond Niner Report can be found all over social media. We are primarily a Twitter platform, but you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook, just not TikTok. All right, boys. Man, it feels like it has been a long time since we've been here together. We've actually played, what do we count, Kevin, 6 games since the last time we did a show?
6 games, and we went to all of them. It was a lot of baseball. We had a spring break last week, so we were able to travel to see the Niners, which was awesome. We traveled to state of North Carolina from the mountains all the way to the coast and got to see the Niners play some baseball. So lots to talk about tonight.
Yeah, it was really cool. The day we played, I guess Tuesday the 11th, we played up at App State. It was a beautiful day. Be able to sort of take the families and do the whole day trip. It was cool. Ran into a ton of Niners up in the high country and had a good crowd on hand there. I don't know that we really want to talk about the game there, but yeah. And then we got out of there, went down to Wilmington. Had a cool weekend at the coast. Lots of Niners down there in Wilmington, and then came home to even things up this week with App State at the Hayes. We snuck in a game with Davidson in there last Wednesday night, where that was not really much of a competitive game with Davidson, but is what it is. But yeah, I mean, life has been Niner baseball lately.
Yeah, one of those 5 games in a week schedule that test your depth as a team, as a pitching staff, and we certainly got to look at the Niners pitching depth, and then got to look at a lot of things this week.
Yeah, we really did. And some news coming out this week, I guess, is due to scheduling constraints and weather, et cetera. I think, Kevin, the Niners may have come into this season 1 game under the 56 limit to begin with, but then we lost a game due to weather with Northeastern, so we were a couple games under the max. We've added a game in April with USC Upstate, so there's going to be another 5-game week in the Niners' future coming up here next month. It'll be the same deal. Another great test.
Yeah, that'll be. We'll come home from Memphis and then have five home games in a row: Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Hayes. So yeah, it'll be another. Yeah, those 5-game weeks are straining on the pitching staff, but it's a good test.
And by the way, that Tuesday game is against Liberty, who is no joke either. So that's going to be we're contemplating, folks. We don't really have this all worked out yet, but the details worked out. But that game against Upstate, we're thinking about having it played for the Will Lancaster Cup. You know, the 2 places where Will Lancaster played baseball colliding on the field. You know, winner gets the Will Lancaster Cup. I don't know.
I'm all for it. We'll figure something out to present to the winning team.
Yeah. I think that's got potential. So we did, you know, there's so many games here. And by the way, I want to mention that we've got Cody Gunderson coming up here in a little bit. Cody's going to join us tonight and spend a little time with us. Unbelievable season he has gotten off to his first 5 weeks of his first D1 season. So can't wait to talk to him. He's been a fantastic addition to the roster, both at the plate and over at first base, and a little bit behind the plate too. So we'll get a chance to catch up with Cody here shortly. But for right now, we're just talking Niner baseball, Kevin. I tell you what, rather than go game by game, let's do it this way. We saw them play we saw them play 6 games in person last week. This is the end of the non-conference schedule. Conference schedule starts on Friday night with UTSA at the Hayes. What do we think we've learned?
That's a loaded question there.
Aren't they all?
Yes. We I've learned that I feel like we've got a really deep pitching staff. We've got some good front end arms, but we've also got some great bullpen arms, and we've been very consistent throughout this non-conference season. A couple bad innings here and there, but overall, really consistent. Offense has kind of had its good moments, obviously. We put up a lot of runs here and there. Sometimes the bats go silent. But usually we've seen in the past where it takes a little bit for the offense to get rolling. But I feel really comfortable with the pitching to where it is now, and I'm seeing the offense progress as we've gone through 5 weeks of the non-con out of conference schedule.
Yeah, I got to say that to me, this is to just echo what you were saying. I think this is the most complete we've seen a pitching staff since this staff has arrived. I love the rotation we've settled on. Going from Gillespie to Cribbs to Perez, that looks to be really productive. All 3 of those guys have shown some good stuff. Obviously, Blake, we talked to him last show after throwing a no-hitter, so he's shown great stuff. But Cribbs looks really, really great as well, and Perez is getting his first couple collegiate or first couple D1 starts, and he's done a nice job as well. The amount of different looks we have coming out of the bullpen, the guys that can come in and get you an inning, 2 innings, 3 innings. Mike Sturma is a nice addition to that mix, sort of as a long reliever, I think. Wesley Jones has kind of come up out of nowhere. And he battled injury last year, and he's sort of establishing himself as a regular bullpen regular. Obviously, Joseph Taylor has gotten off to a great start. We've seen the emergence of a guy like Tanner Kaler, who is kind of doing his A.J. Wilson impersonation right now with that lefty slider. So all the different looks. Adam Stanton. I mean, we could go on. I'm not going to try to name the whole bullpen, but we've got different guys that you can turn to. And, that hasn't always been the case. There have been many a game, Kevin, when we've kind of looked down to the bullpen, especially by Sunday, and especially in a situation where you're playing 5 games a week like we just did, where we've been looking down that bullpen going, man, I wonder where we're going to go next. This doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like there's a number of guys that you have some confidence in to come in and get you some outs.
Yeah, I agree. And some of these guys are young too, AJ Camp and you mentioned Tanner Kaler, 2 lefties that we kind of been leading on a little bit out of the pen. And then you've got sophomore Wesley Jones you mentioned. Young guys too that have 2 of the guys have been in the program for 2 years and have progressed through the development.
Well, that's 3 sophomores and a redshirt freshman right there.
Yeah.
Jones, Kaler, Taylor, sophomores, and then Camp, redshirt freshman. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. In this day and age of college athletics, you never know roster from year to year, but it's exciting looking towards the future. Players that have been in the program and are young that are producing on the field. So. Overall, and the third aspect of the game is the defense. I think we've had really solid defense this non-conference schedule. A few blips here and there, but for the most part, we've had lights out D, I would say.
Yeah, it did bite us in that game down at Wilmington on Friday night. where I thought Blake pitched a pretty good game. It's always tough. They always warn you about that next start after a no-hitter. I thought Blake did a good job. He was probably set to give up. I think he had already given up 1 run in that game. He was probably going to give up another run, but then a couple of defensive mishaps occurred, and all of a sudden he'd given up 6. All earned too because of the scoring and the way things worked out. But you look up Blake Gillespie and you're like, oh, he gave up 6 runs. It really wasn't. He really performed pretty well, better than what the box score says. Baseball's a funny sport like that, but. I think the defense has been pretty good. The guy we're going to talk to here in a little bit has done a phenomenal job at first base. He came in more as a catcher and then first baseman. And so I was wondering, is he really, we've seen that. How many times have we seen that, Kevin, as like a catcher that also plays a little first, and you're like, yeah, okay. You're kind of skeptical if he's if he's going to be able to really be an everyday first baseman. But, that's not a problem for Cody Gunderson right now because he's showing the goods at first base and as well as behind the plate.
Right. This staff highly values defense as a priority, and he's been asked to play there, and he's done a phenomenal job so far, defensively and offensively. So can't ask for much more from what he's been doing at the plate this year. He got sick. That's the only complaint I can have about Cody Gunderson this year. He got sick and missed a couple games. And but other than that, it's been great.
Yeah, and one thing worth mentioning in this week as well, we were talking pitching staff. We saw at the Davidson game, we saw the return of Trip Doval. Trip, first year with the program, looked really good in the fall in limited action before he went out, had a medical procedure, and he is just now getting back. I think they're still trying to extend him, but Tripp got in the game against Davidson and looked really good. He's a guy that if he can continue to recover, get stronger, and go longer and longer outings, I think he could be a key bullpen piece for the Niners, not only this year for the remainder of the year, but looking towards next year as well. So shout out to Trip Doval for getting back on the mound for this year. One thing I did want to shameless, well, it's not really that shameless, plug, Kevin, since we were talking about how to keep players. I am wearing my from One Campus Co. my Niner Collective co-branded T-shirt that you can get at One Campus, onecampus.co. Head over to One Campus, buy the co-branded Niner Collective T-shirt, and a contribution is made to the Niners Collective, which does things like help us keep young talent on the roster. So, I don't know if that qualifies as a shameless plug or not. Somebody will tell me.
It's okay. It's our show, and we can do what we want to.
You're right. That's true.
It's a great shirt. I wore mine to the game Tuesday night. There's a cool design on the back with the haze in the background, a Niner picture. Well, Norm, I guess a skinny.
Kind of looks like Norm. Some people said it looks like me, but I think it looks like Norm.
I was going to say a skinny version of Norm pitching.
I thought you were going to say a skinny version of me.
No. I'll say a taller version of you pitching.
Definitely taller. But if you haven't seen that shirt yet, get over to One Campus and online and check them out. And it's really cool shirt. I love the way it wears and everything. So I think you will probably see it make an appearance at the Hayes this weekend against UTSA because the weather is supposed to be really nice all weekend. This might be, I guess this is going to be the first weekend maybe where we've just had baseball weather all weekend.
Yeah. We got a taste of it against JMU. Down at Wilmington it was good on Saturday, but Friday was a little chilly. But yeah, baseball weather all weekend. We're in conference play now, so it's go time for the Niners.
Yeah. Something else to talk about, in addition to the on-field stuff, which you brought up the bats, and statistically speaking, the bats are progressing in the right direction. I still think they've got a long way to. There's still a lot of juice left in that squeeze as far as the potential of the bats to put some runs up. We've seen it happen, where we've got guys up and down this lineup that can do it. We just got to we're not firing on all cylinders yet on the offense, and that's just an honest assessment. I think anybody following the team would agree with that. But off the field, there's some really cool stuff that's been happening around the Hayes. If you haven't been out to the ballpark, get out there this weekend. I mean, get out there anyway. A lot of improvements are being made out there at the Hayes. New signage, new branding is going up for the Hayes and for Tom and Lib Phillips Field. There's over there on the hill now, they've put up some Adirondack chairs or some. We're developing some other ways out there to enjoy and experience and watch the game, and that's something that the Hayes has really been in need of. And it's cool to see some of that stuff start to happen. In fact, I mean, Kevin and producer Brad, we found ourselves in some Adirondack chairs down the first baseline, down beyond the dugout, pretty much at field level against App State on Tuesday night, and we had a blast down there. So it's really cool to see. It's always cool to see the on-field product develop, but the off-the-field stuff is developing too. Because I think it's fair to say, Kevin, after touring, spending time at App State's baseball stadium, which how hard is it for us to admit that App's doing something right?
Yeah, it is tough, but yeah,
that's not what we're here for. We're not here to say App does anything right. In fact, quite the opposite. But as far as their stadium, they're doing the most with what they've got. They've got different ways to see the field, bar top tables, Adirondack chairs. They even have fire pit seating way down the line. There's some outfield seating. There's all this different stuff. And then Kevin, Wilmington, how many different cool places are there to watch a game at UNC Wilmington?
Yeah, they had a little bar down the left field line next to the bullpen. We spent a little time there, not too much though, but we spend most of our time out in the outfield. They call it the home run hill, I guess.
Something like that.
They have those chairs out there as well, and man, you got to get out there and get away from everything and just watch the ball game. We had a nice center field view from pretty much behind the camera well.
Yeah.
And it was nice, really nice out there.
It's a raised berm out there in left field with Adirondack chairs on top of it in Wilmington. So we were able to I think we spent, out of 18 innings on Saturday, Kevin, we probably saw all but maybe 3 or 4 innings from out there. Our wives didn't want to go with us for some reason. I don't know, but we went. And the berm, you're actually above the outfield wall. So it's looking, and for where we were looking right in on home plate. So it was really, really a cool thing. But yeah, so it's cool. It's always cool to see what other people are doing, but it's also cool to see us adapting.
Yeah, Tuesday night was great. We went down there and sat in the. We named it the Tyler Simmons Suite.
The Tyler Simmons Suite.
He's right there hanging out with us. Not really hanging out with us, but he's right in front of us the whole game when we're hitting. So good to see him. Also good to see Ross Steely this week at the Hayes, back at the Hayes. Familiar name to many Niner fans of baseball, Niner baseball in the past. But yeah, it was cool down there. It's kind of like when you sit courtside at a basketball game. Mm-hmm. Everything's faster, it seems, when you're down on ground level. Our seats at the Hayes are elevated, so I feel like it slows the game down a little bit. But when you get right down on it, it's fast.
Yeah, it was really, really cool, and that's something we needed. And on top of all the other improvements that have been made around the stadium. I mean, the video board last off season, the lights this off season, and now that we're getting into some good weather on the weekends, hopefully we're going to see those home run lights flashing a lot coming up starting this weekend. But the old ballpark's looking really good these days, and I think it's worth mentioning that. And if you haven't been out to the Hayes in a while, well, what's wrong with you? You need to get out there anyway. But definitely come out and see some of the things that are going on. Yeah,
I can see that hill getting filled up. People sitting on those chairs, chilling with their dogs on Saturday, watching the game. It's a good spot. It's a good spot to relax, watch the ball game.
And they're not done with the improvements either. I'm trying to think about the best way. There's some other things in the works that we know are coming shortly. We just haven't been given permission to tell you what they are yet. And we really do enjoy getting in trouble, but we don't want to get in that much trouble. We don't like it that much. So just know that as the weather continues to warm up at the Hayes, there's some more stuff coming to make it an even more. What's the word I'm looking for, Kevin? It's just a cool. It's a really cool hangout spot.
Yeah, your game day experience is being enhanced at the Hayes. I did see there's a giveaway Saturday. Koozies, baseball jersey koozies, I think. Pinstripe koozies. So that'll be cool. Yeah, lots of cool stuff happening off the field, like you mentioned, and you can never have enough of that stuff, right?
Well, I'll be honest, I'm not a big koozie guy, but this one sounds like maybe it's one I need.
Yeah. I am a koozie guy, but
I know it.
You always gotta have a koozie on hand to keep your beverages cold. So, looking forward to seeing what we come up with the pinstripe koozie, and you can't have enough Niner baseball stuff in your paraphernalia collection.
Heck no, you can't. Absolutely, you cannot. Oh, one more thing to mention. This Saturday, the game the game times this week are 6 o'clock tomorrow night. We're doing this on Thursday night. 6 o'clock Friday night, 4 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday for the opening series with UTSA, the opening AAC series. 4 o'clock, we're gonna tailgate. We're gonna tailgate on Saturday. Anybody that hears this, absolutely welcome to join us. We'll be set up right outside the Hayes, out there in the grassy area, outside the stadium. You won't miss us. So if you see us over there, come on by. We will put something cold in your hand, whether or not that's beer, water, whatever you want. We will. Cheer wine. We bring cheer wine. We will find something cold for you to hold on to. So come on by and see us. Kevin, I think I'm gonna set my TV up out there this week. The only question is will we end up watching baseball or March Madness? I don't know. We'll flip around.
Yeah, bring 2 TVs.
I could do that. Maybe that's what I need to do. I don't know. We'll effort that. All right. Well, I see in the waiting room our guest has arrived. Why don't we go ahead and welcome in the junior first baseman / catcher right out of St. Malo, Manitoba, Canada. Say hello to Cody Gunderson.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
What's up, Cody?
How are you guys?
Doing good. Talking Niner baseball, man.
Good stuff.
This time tomorrow we'll be at the Hayes. I mean, what could be wrong with that?
Exactly.
Man, so we appreciate you taking some time to talk to us. First thing we gotta start with is, this is the first time we love Canadians on this show. Okay, we are sold on Canadians going all the way back. What Kevin, Rob Lyerly,
Brad McKenna.
Brad McElroy. Thank you. Rob Lively, I think, is from Salisbury. Which is not Canada. Brad McElroy, David McCabe, Big Maple himself, and then now we've had 2 Canadians in a row on the show, going from Blake to you. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool. I think that Canadians coming on something like this is something very cool for us. So thank you for having me.
I'll make an admission to you, Cody. I may not be very up on my Canadian geography to the point where I said to David McCabe, who I'm sure you met in the fall. I said, so Dave, Gunderson, he's from Canada. Did you run across him playing baseball? Is he? And he looked at me and he said, Nick, where I grew up is closer to Charlotte than it is to where Cody's from. I said, oh, my bad. So I guess truly you guys didn't run across each other until you got to Charlotte.
No, yeah, I didn't. When I came on my visit, Coach Simmons, he mentioned him to me because he said, man, I miss that Canadian accent. And then he started talking about him, how he had the Canadian accent. And that was the last person he had heard or whatever with the Canadian accent and stuff like that. But no, we never really knew each other or anything like that growing up playing baseball. Because he's from Toronto, correct? Or Ontario somewhere, right?
He is from Ontario. I think he's outside of Toronto. His dad will criticize me for not remembering the name of their hometown, but they're Ontario, yeah. Yeah,
so it's about the same distance from me to him than it is from me to Charlotte from my house. So it's about the same distance.
That's pretty wild. But so you are officially from St. Malo. Am I saying that right?
St. Malo, yeah.
St. Malo. What is St. Malo like?
It's super small. It's about a town of like 1,000, 1,500 people, if that, and you got your pharmacy, your gas station, and your grocery store, and it's about all you need. Other than that, it's a super calm little town, and everyone gets along pretty well, and everyone knows each other, and it's just free will out there kind of thing.
And apparently there's a baseball field.
Yeah, there was, but now they kind of took it away. They expanded the elementary school that's there. They expanded it and took some of the fields away, which kind of hurt me a little bit because that's where I grew up and everything. And I'd go there with my mom or dad or sister or little cousins and go and hit and throw and do everything there. And there was always the one diamond had a fence, and that's the one they took away. So it was kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but not much I can do.
So did you grow up playing hockey as well as baseball?
Oh yeah, I played hockey till my sophomore year of high school. And it was so fun. I loved it. I just for some reason, I liked the contact aspect of it.
Yeah.
So at what point you're just like, okay, I'm a baseball guy now? I mean, how old were you when you made that commitment?
So I made that commitment probably my sophomore year of high school. I played 1 year of high school hockey, and we finished really good. Like, our team was really good. We finished second. We had just missed winning the championship. And I figured it was kind of a little late to be doing anything hockey wise, because for hockey it's a little different than baseball. You kind of like, if you want to do something hockey, you kind of start youngerish. Like if you want to like play pro kind of thing, you start at a younger age compared to baseball. And then I kind of just fell in love with the grind of baseball and decided that I was like, okay, I think it's time to hang the skates up and pick up my ball glove and do that year round and see where it can take me. And it brought me to here to Charlotte.
Yeah. So what position did you play in hockey?
I played defense in hockey, but I was a little bit more of an offensive defenseman when my coaches allowed me to be.
Really cool.
So does playing, you've played a lot of catcher behind the plate. So did playing catcher like that got you your contact fix?
I guess so. Yeah. I never really thought about it that way, but yeah, they would make sense.
So talk about your journey from there all the way to Charlotte. You spent 2 years at the Hutchinson in Kansas, and then you found your way to the Hayes.
Yes, sir. So I started playing baseball around probably 18 months. Yeah, about 18 months I started playing baseball. Like I started super young. My sister was playing, so I'd go to her practices. My mom was coaching. So I'd go there and my mom said I was always the most involved in all this kind of stuff. So that's kind of, I started the love for the game pretty young. And winter was always hockey, summer was always baseball. Growing up, all that stuff. Did that till my sophomore year of high school. And then I quit hockey and did baseball year round, where I'd have to drive like an hour 10 one way I think it was 3 days a week. I'd have to go to be able to train inside somewhere. And then it was kind of hard to do get recruited and stuff because it was during COVID, and with all the restrictions and stuff, I couldn't cross the border or anything like that. So everything was done through trust and YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. So then I got my only offer out of high school was a JUCO in Kansas, Hutchinson Community College. There I played 2 years. I spent most of my freshman year behind the plate in DH. And then sophomore year, I spent most of my season behind the plate at first base. And from there, I just came on a visit here to Charlotte, fell in love with it, thought it was the right place. Definitely thought it was somewhere I could improve myself and become a better ball player, which has definitely helped me here with Coach Siebes and Coach Simmons, of course, Coach Woodard and Coach Bick. They've helped me become a better player, and now we're here.
So did life in St. Malo prepare you for life in Kansas?
Hard to say, because I mean, Kansas was a little bit bigger. Like I didn't like it. Like my freshman year, I didn't like it because I found it too big. I like my small town stuff just because everyone's so close, and you can do like almost whatever you want, go for walks at whatever time you want, stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it prepared me, but now going through the steps of little town to Hutchinson, Kansas to now here where it's a big city, and then now I'm happy I did what I did because now I feel prepared and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, you mentioned coming on a visit. What was your first impression of campus?
I thought it was super cool. I really liked all the brick from all the buildings and stuff like that. I love that kind of stuff. It's kind of looks old to me. I like that kind of stuff. And then I fell in love with the coaching staff and all the stuff they had to offer here, and couldn't really say no.
So with the process when you're in JUCO, what was first contact with the Charlotte staff like? Do you remember the first time hearing about Charlotte, hearing from the staff, and just that initial impression?
Yeah, so we went to a showcase in Kansas City, Creekside, I believe it was called. And a few days after that, Coach Siebes called me, and he was informing me about Charlotte. I never had really heard about it. And then he informed me about him, talked to me. It was a really good guy, and told me they wanted me to come on a visit. And a few weeks later, I came on a visit and fell in love with it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're here. You've been tearing it up this season, and very exciting to watch you play. Especially when you hit home runs against App State. We really enjoy that. Talk about your season so far and how it's gone for you.
It's going fairly well. I started off with my first ever D1 hit being a triple, which who would have thought that would happen, being on not a very fast runner. So that was pretty cool. And with all the crowd and all the atmosphere was just crazy to me. Never something I've experienced. That I'm not normally one to celebrate or anything after a hit or something like that, but I couldn't help myself after that. After that first triple, I was so excited with all the crowd, and everyone was just feeding off of each other, and it was just insane game one. But
we thought that was gone. We thought that one was gone. That was almost out of here.
Yeah, off the top of the wall or something like that. I wasn't sure. I was running for my life trying to get to third. But it's been a good season so far. Obviously, we've had a few games where it just slipped away from us, but we're definitely trending in the right direction, and the knives are starting to get hot, as you guys are starting to see.
So Kevin mentioned that home run from Tuesday night against App. They reported that, Kevin. What was the launch angle on that? Was it 48.5?
Yeah, something crazy like that. Yeah,
something crazy like that. Did you, in all honesty, did you think that ball was gone, or did you think you had just popped up to left field?
I knew I barreled it, but I didn't know it was going to go. I didn't think it was going to go out. I thought, it looked almost like it was going to curve foul. I'm like, come on, stay fair. And then I'm like, oh, wait, never mind. He's going to catch it anyways. I'm like, okay, I hope because Chandler was at second. I was like, okay, please tag up at least so we have a runner in scoring position, or at third, sorry. And then all of a sudden the ball just kept going. And I'm like, holy crap, that might actually go up. And it actually ended up leaving. And I was like, geez, you can ask Steve. I was laughing all the way from second to third until I gave him a high five at third. I did not expect it to leave the yard.
Yeah, it just kept carrying and carrying, and it crept over to the fence there, right next to the pole, man. And it was, yeah.
It looked like it came down nearly vertical.
Yeah. I saw it come down into the trees like this, and I was like, holy, that must have been high. Because I hit it, I just started running.
Yeah, we were kind of at field level, and when Nick said we were sitting down low, and yeah, we just kept watching it carry and carry and carry, and it crept out. That we were happy to see that. But the one you hit the week before up in Boone, it wasn't like that. That was a no doubter, I think.
Yeah, that one felt good. He hung me. I had 2 strikes on me, and he hung me a slider. I knew he was coming back with a slider because I fouled off a fastball straight back, and I knew I was on it. If he threw me another one, it wasn't going to be good. So I knew he was coming back with a slider, and he just hung it to me, and I had no choice but to do what I did with it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a little bit about playing first. I know you've my impression is, you correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression is that you were kind of a little more of a catcher first, and then you played some first base. And I remember asking Woody, like coming into like last fall, Gunderson, like he plays first, like he knows how to play first. Well, he spent some time there. Well, yeah, okay, he spent some time there, but like he plays first kind of thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, he'll be good. I got to say, Cody, you have handled that. I remember, and the play that I think of, the first comes to mind was in the very first inning last Tuesday at App State. There was a laser beam hit down the first base line. And I thought for sure it was into right field for a double, and you laid out, you stopped that. And I mean, that was just perfect execution. That and a 100 other little things you've done over there at first so far this season. You are really playing the position well.
Thank you. It's been something that I have to get used to again. I played a little bit, like I was always an infielder growing up and catcher, like catch one game and play the infield and whatever. And during winter, like training, I'd train infield and stuff like that too. So after my freshman year, I didn't do any infielding. So my footwork kind of left me. And I'm still kind of trying to figure out that footwork. I still don't feel like I have it quite down, or like my reading the ball on like bounces and stuff like that, which ones I should charge, which ones I should stay back on, kind of stuff like that. But just trying to adapt, and day by day, some days are better than others, but of course, just trying to keep those days, the bad ones, to a minimum, and just keep trying my best and playing with confidence.
There was one, and I'm not going to remember the game. You might, but maybe it was a misread initial, but the ball was hit to you, and what you ended up doing is rather than back it up or charging it, you kind of stood your ground and you like chested the ball and got it to your feet, and then watch over there. And I was like, wow, he plays first like a catcher.
What I thought about during that was going down for a hockey block. Don't let the shot get through. Just go down to the L and don't let it through.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what first base. All you gotta do is knock it down, and you got plenty of time to get over there, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, good. That's good. You made a great transition over there, and even behind the plate, you got a chance to jump behind the plate against, was it Davidson?
Yes, sir. I believe so. Yeah.
And looked great behind the plate as well. Talk about being versatile. I know you said you played infield growing up also, and as well as catcher. Talk about your versatility and how it's helped you in the past.
It's definitely a little different now because the game's a little faster and stuff like that. Like when you're younger, it's a little easier to adapt just because it's not as fast. Balls aren't hit as hard. Balls aren't thrown as hard, stuff like that. So just trying to get the proper work in throughout the week to be prepared for the weekend, where like on Tuesdays, normally I'll catch bullpens and do some receiving work with Coach Simmons and stuff like that, some read and react with some blocking and stuff like that, just to make sure I don't lose my timing behind the plate and my feel and stuff like that. And then just taking as many ground balls as possible during batting practice or, during batting practice and anything else that Coach Bick wants and stuff like that. So just trying to get a good mix of both, and being versatile and being able to do both has definitely helped and made it better for us.
It's kind of like being a two-way player, like a pitcher and a player, because you've got catching catching has a lot of responsibilities, and it's its own animal as far as a position. And there's a lot that goes into it, obviously. So yeah, it's almost like being a two-way player.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So, kind of keeping with that theme of versatility, noticed with your plate approach, you're a lot of fun to watch hit, and for reasons that maybe aren't as obvious at first. I mean, when you smash a ball like you've done so far this season, that's awesome, but you are not a one-trick pony up there. You are just as likely to work a walk, hit a poke a ball out to opposite field for a single, put a double in the gap. As you said, you've got a triple to your credit and home runs. I guess the way I look at it is you seem to treat each at bat as its own sort of entity, as opposed to, and you see guys and it's kind of like become a thing in baseball. It's like, strikeouts are up. Guys are just looking to get launch angle and elevate the ball. But you really seem to be one patient, but also willing to do a variety of different things at the plate.
Yeah, I just try to, for me, what helps me is I just think about hitting the ball back up the middle, just because then it kind of gives me like a tunnel vision of not pulling off the baseball and not being too late and flaying a ball to right field or anything like that. If I think up the middle, it kind of helps me stay centered and keep my body in line and everything else in line. Mm-hmm. If I just think that, then it kind of helps me hit the ball to all parts of the field and helps me stand my ground in the box and see the ball a little better for me.
Just quick glance at the stats here for the folks watching this. Cody's got 23 hits. 9 of them are for extra bases, but also 12 walks. That's kind of the point I'm making here. On base percentage 539, batting 397. You can do it better than that, I guess, but not much.
Yeah, I just try and show up with the same mindset to the field every day. Just Coach Steves always talks about it as well during our classroom sessions of just showing up to the field every day, confidence, doing your routine, and that should set you up for the weekend of doing your thing. So I kind of took that to mind and just tried to show up every day with confidence and doing my thing, doing my routine, and just keeping the bad days to a minimum and the good days as much as possible. So
yeah, you said you try to keep even keel with your emotions and all that. And it seems like the same way as your hitting approach, you're just even keel and very consistent with everything. And you can tell with the results. I think you had a 12 game hitting streak, been on base every game you played in. So kudos to you on your great start this year. And I wanted to jump back to what we talked about a little bit earlier about going from a small town and now living in a large city like Charlotte. What's your experience been like living in Charlotte so far and kind of off the field stuff?
Oh, it's definitely different. I'm when I'm back home, I like hanging out with my little cousins, my older cousins, stuff like that. Just being outside and going during wintertime, I like going snowmobiling, and during summer, I like dirt biking, stuff like that. Like I like motorized vehicles and stuff like that. So that's definitely been a change because you can't really do that here. There's not really anywhere to do it, and plus we're in season, so I don't want to get hurt or anything like that. So obviously I can't do that kind of stuff, but it's just been different because back home, a lot of people are outside. You can hang out with a lot of people outside. I grew up outside. My parents would have to drag me into the house at nighttime and stuff like that. So that part's been different just because my friends aren't here and stuff like that. Like I have my roommates and teammates who are super close. Like I'm super close with most of them and stuff like that, but it's just not like going outside and going for a walk or going for a bike ride and hanging out, like stuff like that. So that's been a little bit to get it adjusted to, but once you get adjusted to it, then it's good. It takes a little bit for me, but once I'm adjusted, then I'm okay.
So who are you rooming with?
I got my roommates are Juan Rivera, Sebastian Perez, and Matt Garcia.
That's pretty solid. I
Yes,
like
sir.
that.
We all get along pretty good, so that's good.
So something a little more personal in nature. I've noticed that you've got some pretty fancy arm ink.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got going on there? What? I'm always interested in what people get and what it means to them and why they got certain things.
So my first ever tattoo I got was my half sleeve here. I got 3 roses with baseball seams on them. I don't know if you can see them.
Oh, I do see that.
So I got this one's my mom. I got this one. So this one's my mom. This one's my dad. And then this one's my sister. And then I got family under all of it. And then I got the clock of my date of birth and the time I was born at. And then I have this one, me, my mom, and my sister. We all got matching tattoos. And I think it stands for today, tomorrow, forever, just because I'm super close with my mom and sister, obviously, older sister, of course. And then I have a cross on my chest with the Bible verse, Isaiah 41, verse 10, which is, set it up here for I'm with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I'll uphold you with my righteous right hand. And I just got that verse just because when I read that verse, it just helps me like stay grounded, if that makes sense, and just keep going and knowing that God's always with me and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we, like Nick always says, we bring you stuff that you can't find in the box score, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's kind of prominent. You're like, and there's always a story. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I guess you do have people that have like ink that don't have stories. But it's usually like, I don't know, I just woke up and it was there kind of thing. But that's usually not the case. There's usually like a good story behind it, right?
Yeah.
So,
No, my dad wasn't a huge fan of it at first, but then I think it kind of grew on him. My mom didn't like, of course I had to wait till I was 18 and my dad didn't really like the idea, but I'm like, it's kind of like my money, my body, the pain I have to go through to get it. And like, I kind of wanted it just cause like it had meaning. I've always wanted one. And I was like, has meaning to it. So it's not like I'm just getting something random on my body that's going to be there forever. So not because I have meaning to it. Like sometimes I'll look down at it and be like, hey, like I don't play just for the name behind. I play for my family. And of course the name across the chest, or the non across the chest, sorry. And all the boys on the team and stuff like that. So it just helps me think of if something sped up or the game sped up, just take a step back, deep breath, sometimes look at the arm, look at who I'm playing for, look at all the guys on the bench, and just get zoned back in, stay where my feet are, and keep going.
My daughter is 19. She's a freshman at Charlotte. And when she turned 18, she got her first tattoo. I don't have any. I have nothing to offer, but she wanted to get something that meant something to her. And she had saved, my mother passed away back in 21, and she had saved like the last, one of the last birthday cards, I guess, that she had ever received from her. And my mom had written, like in her, she had really nice handwriting, had written like "Love You Bunches," and then signed it. And she had that scanned and put on her, on her forearm kind of thing. So, and again, like your dad, I was like, but then what do you say? It's like, there's a story and it means something to you. So, and it is,
exactly,
it's your,
yeah.
So what do I have to say about it?
Yeah, they're expensive, but I think if they have meaning to them, they're worth it.
Yeah, that was the other thing. She paid for it. Oh, all right. Sorry, Kevin. Kevin's kids are younger, so he hasn't.
Not yet. My biggest worry is my kid wants to grow a mullet like all the other baseball players he sees, and Whatever, that's fine. But yeah, that's a cool story. We appreciate that, and um, we're glad you're on the team now. We're glad like Nick said, we enjoy watching you hit. We enjoy watching you play baseball, and really appreciate you coming on with us, talking our second Canadian in a row, third Canadian all time. We've got some great history north of the border. I think two of our previous Canadians here are All-Americans, David McCabe and Brad McElroy. So for some reason, Canadians seem to flourish at Charlotte.
It's a pipeline. It's a pipeline. Before we let you go, Cody, let's give the people a chance to kind of know a little bit more about your sort of your off the field plans. I mean, I can go ahead and fill in the blanks on this. You're going to get a chance to play baseball at the next level because you're that talented. But I noticed you are a health systems management major. What are some of your thoughts about what you might do later in life after baseball winds down, whenever that happens to be?
So at first I was my major was physical education. And when I had graduated from my JUCO and was going to come here, they told me I was going to have to take stats and chemistry. And I'm not good at either of those. I'm not good at all at either of those. I'm not very good at math or sciencey stuff. It's just not my thing. And so I was like, with baseball and all that kind of stuff, I don't know because with chemistry, I obviously need to do labs and study end on end to be able to do half that stuff and stuff I won't even be able to remember ever. So I was like, it's going to be tough with baseball to be able to stay focused with baseball and be focused with chemistry and stats and stuff like that. So I kind of was like, I'll switch my major to health systems management just because then I'll get a degree while also being able to play baseball, focus on both, do good in both and stuff like that. And once baseball's over, I don't know what I'm going to do. I do want to work in a trade possibly. I worked in, my cousin's a supervisor in a welding shop. And one summer I worked with him and I really enjoyed it. He let me weld sometimes and I enjoyed it. The only part that sucked is when it was super hot in there and you got to wear all your stuff and then you'll get burned and stuff like that. But other than that, I really enjoyed it and stuff like that. So I could see myself working in some form of shop somewhere, not sure what, but I do like getting my hands dirty and being dirty and feeling like I've worked a day and I have to go home and shower and then be clean to be able to go to bed kind of thing.
Kevin, more stuff you can't find in the box score. I don't think this has ever come up on this show before. If it has, remind me because I've forgotten. But little known fact, I weld a little bit. Did you know that, Kevin? I can actually weld a little bit.
I did know that.
My old Jeep, I did the frame repair on it. My dad and I did it, and I did a lot of the welding myself. And I actually learned, Cody, my grandfather taught me to weld when I was about 5.
My cousin taught me how to weld when probably I was a senior in high school, and he's like, "You want to try welding?" And I just showed up there. He was welding something for his buddy, and I just showed up there on my dirt bike, and it was super hot that day, so I had a muscle shirt and shorts on. Like, "You want to try?" I'm like, "Sure." And I ended up doing really good, but it hurt a lot because all the sparks kept hitting my arms and going down my dirt bike boots, and I was like, "Ooh!" But I kept going, and I ended up doing pretty good.
That's when you got your first tattoo, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, Cody, we appreciate you spending some time with us and letting people get to know you a little bit. We've enjoyed talking to you, man. We're going to let you get on with your night. You've got a big weekend of baseball coming up and maybe even some homework and that kind of stuff to get done. We just appreciate you making some time for us and have enjoyed talking to you.
Perfect. I thank you guys for having me. I had a great time.
All right. Good night, Cody. See you at the Hayes tomorrow.
Thank you. See you guys later.
All right.
See you, Cody.
See ya.
All right. So that was Cody Gunderson, man. So let me tell you. I'm going to tell you a funny story about that. Cody just broke up the streak because I got a call last week from Robert McCabe, from David's father. They were on their way down to see David play in the what game was it, Kevin?
Spring breakout.
The spring breakout game. And Robert had watched the interview with Blake, and he was talking about between Blake and David that they were very quiet people. And he's like, "What is it? It's something up in the water up here in Canada that we produce these really quiet baseball players." But Cody, man, you could talk to that dude for. I mean, you could just talk to that guy.
Yeah. He had a lot to say, and he's got an interesting pass, and it's fun learning the team now. You got kids from all over the place now, and it's awesome seeing everybody come together, as teammates from different backgrounds, different countries, different states, and all play for the nine across the chest, and it's really cool to get all the backstories and get to know some of these guys.
It's my favorite thing that we get to do.
Yeah.
I mean, talking to these guys and getting to know about them and their journeys and their hopes, their aspirations, in baseball, out of baseball. It's just fun. Before we get out of here, and I know producer Brad sent me a message and said, "Hey, we're coming up on 49 minutes." I said, "Brother, I don't think we're hitting that one tonight." We're blowing through that mark. We blew through the sign on producer Brad was doing the Siebes over there. He was putting his hands up, and we just blew right through the sign. It's okay. He won't stay mad at us long. Let's do a little bit. Let's touch just quickly, because this is the start of conference play. UTSA coming in here this weekend. Let's talk a little AAC kind of in general as we set the table for this, because this is the real meat of the schedule, right? I mean, not that you don't want to win your out of conference games, because you need to, but this is where the grind starts. It's a 30 game schedule, and it's going to be Conference USA. I mean, Conference USA. Geez, the AAC looks really wide open right now, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes when because teams have different levels of scheduling in the non-con, but yeah, I would agree with you. It's kind of wide open. I think college baseball in general, with the portal and everybody's getting new rosters year to year, it usually takes a little while for teams to gel, and so you see some up and downs in the non-con. But now, yeah, it's wide open, I think, and we got UTSA coming in this week. They've got some big wins on their schedule. The other night they beat Texas,
including this week.
Yeah, they beat Texas, and they got 1 out of 3 from Dallas Baptist, who was ranked in the top 20. And then Texas A&M.
They got a win over A&M
on the road a few weeks back. But yeah, they got their conference player of the year, preseason player of the year coming in. Mason Lytle. He's their leader. So
it feels like he's been there 20 years.
Someone we're familiar with, obviously. But yeah, it seems like UTSA always has a good start. They start off hot, and they carry it into the season, the conference season. But then most of the time they kind of fade towards the end, unfortunately. It'll be interesting to see how they do this year. If they stay hot through the whole season and they can stay and challenge for the title. I think there's 5 or 6 teams that are in the mix to win the title this year, and I think we're one of them, obviously, and UTSA is another one. So starting off this weekend with them at home is huge.
There's 2 things you can count on when you play UTSA. They're going to play tough, gritty baseball. They play a tough, gritty brand, a station-to-station kind of brand of baseball. And their head coach, Pat Hallmark, will coach third base from somewhere out in left field.
Close to that left field line, of course. But
if you don't believe me, folks, watch for it this weekend.
Yeah, but we won't get into that.
Maybe after the weekend we will.
Yeah, maybe so.
We'll let everybody watch it first.
I agree. Yeah, that's what you get with them, and it does bring back some memories. Like 2 years ago when they came here, and we had that rain day where they had to. I don't know. It was like the game lasted for 7 or 8 hours with the 4-hour rain delay in between. Woody got his 100. Woody got his 100th victory at like midnight. Night.
You're right. That was San Antonio. That was an interesting day. All the way around. I was just looking. I pulled some numbers. So the RPI is weird this year as far as conference RPI because independent is its own category, but it is a category of one. It's just Oregon State. And Oregon State is the number one rated conference in RPI. But if you remove them, the AAC is the sixth rated RPI conference, neck and neck with the Southland for fifth. So that's where it stacks up. And this stuff matters as the season goes on. You certainly would like to be top five, if not better. I don't know if that's going to happen, but top five is very attainable. Beyond that, I don't know, but the AAC could easily be a top five conference when it's all said and done. Looking at it, FAU is 38. UTSA is coming in at 76. We've got UAB at 63. South Florida at 62. Those are the top 100 programs. Niners are sitting there at 123 right now with work to do. But yeah, the only real outlier the league has right now coming at with the out of conference weekends completed is Rice. Rice is sitting there at 4-17, and their RPI is 206. But they just fired their coach and hired another one, and he starts tomorrow.
Yes, well, yeah, that's crazy. We're going to have 3 coaches in one season. So 2 coaches in the non-con, and then you got 1 coach for the conference season. That's a crazy situation. You kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, at least after the season. I didn't see that happening before conference play started, but I definitely didn't see him hiring someone within a week. But maybe they had something in the works already.
Yeah, they hired David Pierce, by the way, the former Longhorns coach. I mean, he took them to the College World Series. He spent time at Tulane, I think, before Texas, so he's no stranger to the AAC. He's no stranger to Omaha. It looks it's as weird as the situation is. It looks like a total upgrade for Rice.
Yeah, the logistics and all that's kind of hard in season to kind of get your program, especially crew, obviously. They're going to move forward with a new coach. It's hard to.
Yeah,
it's kind of like interim. It's kind of like interim, but.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how that team responds to Coach Pierce in the dugout. Like I said, starting tomorrow. Or today, if you're listening to this on Friday. Let's see, who did they have?
They play FAU, I believe.
I think you're right.
Two teams that have surprised me a little bit out of the gate is UAB and South Florida. They've put together a pretty decent non-con resume, and it's good for the conference. It's good for the conference to have teams elevating themselves and in turn elevating the conference. And if Rice can get it turned around, it'll be great for the conference as well. If they can get back to they're a historic program, Omaha program. They got a lot of history there. If they can get back to that, then they'll be great for the league.
Yeah, I mean, USF made a great hire too. What they got, Indiana State's coach, was that
Yes.
right? The Sycamores, Mitch Hanna's. That's great, and that's what we need. The league, we need good coaches who are going to build strong programs because, I mean, that's, we've seen it the other way, Kevin. Back to the old A10 days, where every weekend in conference play, whether you won or lost, was just an RPI boat anchor. So, good on them. We've got a great coach here, and there's a number of other stable programs in the league that we think can build. And South Florida had been underperforming. Lord knows Rice has been underperforming for quite a while now, since Wayne Graham was done. So it's good to see some of these programs bringing some people in to make some stuff happen.
And the investment is there on a lot of these schools now, and investment is there here also. And as you can see with some of the improvements with the Hayes and some of the technology that we've got going on at the Hayes for the program and development on the development side of things.
That's right. So once again, we're saying as we go out the door here at the Hayes this weekend against UTSA, 6 o'clock on Friday, 4 o'clock on Sunday, 4 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Tailgate out in front of the Hayes Saturday afternoon. You are more than welcome to come by. If you are within the sound of our voice, you're invited. So make sure and stop by and say hello. Producer Brad, I think we about covered it this week. Hey, thumbs up from Producer Brad. Okay.
I have to correct myself. I did say the Koozie giveaway was Saturday. The Koozie giveaway is Friday. So, first 300. So if you got to be the first 300, you get a free pinstripe koozie. Modeled after the jerseys the Niners will be wearing that night. So we're wearing pinstripes Friday night.
I like it. And, you say 300. I mean, the crowd was over 1,000 on Tuesday night. Great weather at the Hayes. So if you want a koozie, get there at a good time because the weather's going to be really nice tomorrow. And I anticipate good crowds all weekend. So let's do it. Let's go get a series win, if not more.
Let's do it.
All right, folks, we are more than all out of time for tonight. We appreciate you tuning in. Like I said at the beginning, if you like what we're doing here, like, share, and subscribe wherever you're getting this podcast. All over social media, tune in to Diamond Niner Report on Twitter all weekend long. We'll be providing live updates from the Hayes about baseball and whatever else we run into. You never know what we're going to tweet about. You also find us on Instagram and Facebook. Appreciate Cody Gunderson spending some time with us tonight. Solid interview. Love talking to him. Can't wait to see him out on the diamond all weekend long and the rest of the season. So, for Kevin, for producer Brad, I'm Nick saying we'll see you at the Hayes.